I think our friend Ms.Blipper is going to join us. How's everyone? Let's see. Melissa, how are you? Melissa says, blah. Seems pretty serious. There she is. Hey, Miss Blipper.
Hello, Eric. How are you?
Good. How are you?
All right.
Our friend Share Bear is here. Let's give
Okay.
it a minute or two,
Sure.
and I have some questions for you.
Good. I have some questions for you.
You do?
Yeah.
Some things with you I don't think we've covered before, and it seems odd because they're very basic.
Okay.
I'll let you. Let's wait so people can show up.
Sure.
But I'll let you think the first one over. I don't think you've ever told the Miss Blipper Course in Miracles origin story. How did it come
Oh,
into your life?
okay.
And my other question was, do you have a preferred version of the course, and have you read other versions of the course?
I've
Hey, this
read
guy.
only bits and pieces of other versions, and I've um, watched videos and read bits. Like whenever there's things that I hadn't already seen before, or yeah, things that didn't show up in the version. I just have the foundation for inner peace.
Don't
Me
upload your
too.
videos to
Sorry, but I did have.
YouTube.
Sorry, there we go. I did have another one. I forget which version. Um, and I don't know what happened to it. I think it just got like too beaten up. It was a smaller version, soft cover, uh, the one with the pearls on it.
Don't know.
But I, I think it was slightly different. Do you think there's value? And I mean, I'm sure different people find different value, but you personally, in reading different versions, or do you think the one that has been approved, we could say approved by the Holy Spirit, because everyone who was involved from the beginning uh, consulted with the Holy Spirit before they.
Yeah, I don't. I think they're all kind of interesting. I haven't delved into any that were written afterwards, but the ones that were written earlier, sure, if they contained stuff that was more personal or a little bit different, but I haven't found, tell you the truth, with what I've read. I mean, little differences here and there, but nothing substantial.
I read or I heard on a video just recently, and actually it was from yesterday's guest on a video
Hmm.
she did a couple years ago.
Hmm.
Um, that I think it's Robert Perry's version uh, has quite a bit of information on sex
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was taken
and
out.
they've done talks on it. Robert Perry and his wife, they've done talks on the differences and the things they've written. I've read stuff that they've written. Yeah.
Is it pertinent to the course that talk on sex, or do you think it was better left out? Especially because it was sort of directed towards Helen and Bill, right?
Perhaps. Yeah, I don't. Again, I just didn't find any. I didn't find anything in what I read that deterred from the course. You know what I mean? There wasn't
Right.
anything that wasn't aligned already with what the
Sure.
course said.
Hey, Toy Pups and Back to Tom. Have you met Back to Tom yet?
I haven't met Bakhtatam, but that brings up a question, which is your guest that you had, Michael. He's sometimes visiting and people say hello to him, but I don't know which one he is. Hi, Lady Sky.
I will. Hey, Sick Bug.
I also
Uh,
don't know which one because I saw your interview with Praveen's darling wife who
yep.
and told her story. And that was really wonderful, but I don't know who she is in the chat room either.
Uh, she doesn't get a chance to come into the chat too often.
Okay.
Um, but next time she comes in, and next time Mike will come in, and you're here, I will point them out to you. We'll do a formal introduction. Big Al says, Yogi, you've changed, new glasses, and grown your hair.
Yeah, that's it. He's right. Yeah, it's exactly what happened.
All right. So are you ready to dive in? The origin story, or do you want to ask me one of your questions first, and then we'll go back to your
Yeah,
question?
my origin story is pretty much like standard fare. I think it was like 1990. Yeah, something like that.
Were you already in Rome?
1990. What?
Were you already in Rome at the time, or were
I
you
was
still in
already
San
in
Francisco?
Rome. Yeah, I came to Rome in 1988. And I had come by, I don't know, Marianne Williamson's book. And all it did was make me want to read the course, like get to the source, like what is she talking about?
Right.
And then just like that, I had a neighbor whose name was Rita Haley. She was a talent agent. And I told her that because finding books in English in Rome, there were a couple English bookstores at the time, but very small and, or very angled towards a particular subject. Just, yeah, not big anyway. So I told this neighbor of mine who lived in my building, um, Rita, I said that I was reading this book and I really wanted to read The Course in Miracles. And she says, "Oh, I have a copy. I'll give it to you. I don't want it." So
Well,
it's just like, ask and you shall receive. I didn't even ask, I just said, I just mentioned that I wanted to read this book.
it does come into our lives very often in sort of odd ways, unexpected ways, synchronistic,
Yeah. I mean, who would have thought my neighbor had a copy in Rome in English,
right? So, how
Who
do you feel after reading Marianne Williamson and you open up the course? Do you like, wow, this isn't anything that I expected? I don't even, the language is difficult. Or, you know what I mean? A lot of people are like shocked and like, well, it's just too much. I didn't
Oh
expect.
no, I didn't really have. I was too determined for that. I didn't really get in. Although I met other people eventually who did have problems with the language, and sure, first time through, you know, there were times where I had to read sentences a couple of times to get its message. But every successive time I've read it, it's become easier and easier.
Yeah, me too. Did um did the repetition throw you off?
The repetition. Like, for example?
Different they a lot of things are repeated, it maybe slightly different ways. And of course, it even says, in the course that repetition is key, that you need to hear things over and over again.
Mhm.
But some people are like, didn't I just read this in a different? Didn't they just reword something? Is the entire text one sentence endlessly repeated in different ways throughout the whole thing?
I I, um, I do think it's very thorough, that um it has, um, kind of one message. It's like, do you wanna be with God? Then be with God. Here's how you do it.
Right.
It's like, um but I didn't even notice. In fact, the first time I even thought about repetition, but that's an interesting argument to me because, like, I teach English as a second language, or I did for many, many years. Um, as an ESL teacher, and so repetition is definitely, a part of learning and teaching process. Yeah.
And amazing. Both you and I have been reading it. That one sentence endlessly rewarded for uh, between the two of us about 60 some years total up, you and me together.
Okay, so you add my years to your years.
Yes.
Okay, and
It's been
then
about
and then and
30
then
plus
what?
years for you, right?
What?
That we've been reading that the repetition, we've been reading, those two or three sentences that have been rearranged and reworded
Hmm.
for a total of, between us, 60 some years.
Yeah, 35, almost 70. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but I don't get tired of it. I,
No,
I,
no do
I
I
dive
was
in.
reading it today.
Me too. I don't.
What what were you reading about?
Today is chapter 7. Um, and it is what was today? Well, it was lesson. I do a lesson and then I read through the text. Uh,
Okay.
the lesson was I rest in God,
Hmm.
lesson 109.
Hmm.
Um, and because I started right back in when I finished it 109 days ago. Um, and the uh, well, I can't remember what it was that I was reading this morning in the text. I know it was chapter 7,
Okay.
and it had to do with the Holy Spirit.
All right. Fair enough.
What about you?
I was same thing. I had my lesson this year. I've been doing the lessons according to like having started them on the first of the year because there are a bunch of people who do it that way. I've never done it that way before, but
Either have I.
I like thinking that there's all these people on the same page at the same time. I don't know why. It's kind of fun. Let's see. And so, yeah, I had my lesson, and then I did a search because last time we spoke, we thought that we might talk about um, the creator and creation and creating and co-creating and created and all that stuff.
Which
So
I do.
I was looking up creation and creator, and so I did the buzzword on the website and looked at all the quotes that they had on creation.
Um, you ever use any forms of AI?
No.
Uh, no, I know. Cat does. I do a little bit. Cat does very successfully, very nicely, um,
Hmm.
and she gets a lot of good feedback. I just wonder what AI would has to say on creation with the Course in Miracles. Let's,
Hmm.
let's give a little test. I just
Well,
use
there's
Google.
creation, the creator, co-creating, and then the created. But yeah, I looked all those up.
Give me 1 second here. So, give me one of the creation words you want to start with first.
Creator,
A Course in Miracles and Creator.
just yeah, creator according to A Course in Miracles.
All right. Some key concepts. It had none. Let me try it again. Let me try a different version.
Hi, Big Al, the Englishman. Hello, the Bud Flies and Fred Chambers. Oh, Chipmunk's here too.
Yeah, he's not feeling too well.
I'm sorry about that. Are you feeling better?
I am. Probably, maybe even close to 80% better.
All right.
It's been tough with some of the guests because my eyes were watering. I had to fight back the urge to sneeze. I didn't want to wipe or blow my nose when I was talking to someone. All right, 1 second. What does A Course in Miracles say about Creator? Teaches that God, the Creator, creates only love, spirit, and reality, which are eternal and perfect, while the physical world is an illusion or miscreation made by the separated mind, not God. As sons of God, we are co creators, extending this divine creation through our thoughts, but our creations in the world, ego based thoughts, actions, are unreal. Our true creation is the extension of God's love and the spiritual reality we share, leading to awakening and oneness. Hey, speaking of which, we don't have to talk about it now, but I do want to bring up the word revelation has been coming up.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard a bunch of different people talking about Revelation.
Uh, and let's skip,
Not it goes beyond what is according to the course. It just says it's like a beyond description, basically.
right, which, it's a true holy moment when we experience the real. And since we translate everything here, at least verbally, and probably even thought wise, through the lens of the ego, we start adding stuff on to that pureness until it doesn't sound like anything that we actually experience. And we could take an example of, the words of Jesus that you hear from the average pulpit doesn't really sound much like Jesus actually said. If you have a minister, a priest, preacher, talking about the sins of homosexuality, the sins of socialized medicine,
Just sins in general, yeah.
sins in general, yeah.
Mm.
Um, then the original language of Jesus has been reinterpreted through the lens of the ego for a purpose, agenda, serving the ego, serving separation. Um, and so even when you take something as pure as that revelation, that holy instant, as soon as we start describing it, it sort of starts becoming, maybe it retains some of the purity, but and I think for course students it probably does, but that's why they say we say God is and then we fall silent, because anything we say is going to be a poor description of the actuality. And I think it might be the same with the Holy Spirit. I've never been able to, or not the Holy Instant. I've never been able to,
Revelation.
right.
Revelation, yeah.
Yeah, I've never really been able to um, describe it in a way that seems satisfying. But when you talk about the experience, people generally people who've experienced it like that, they generally smile, and and you don't have to say it. I always thought it was funny that Lao Tzu said the Tao that can be told is not true Tao, and then he spent 81 chapters describing that which can't be told. Uh, but he did an exceptional job. But 81 chapters, that seems like a lot. So that was
Yeah. You just got to meet people where they're at. I mean, the Holy Spirit does,
it's true, and that's our task.
Mm-mm. So, you ready for my question?
I am. Hey, Sue.
You have been talking a lot with different guests. There was Lisa, and then there was Michael, and then there was some you a little tiny bit with me, not so much. Um, what's up with non-duality?
Good question. Well, uh, it's a controversial subject on a lot of groups,
It
and
is. I
there's
know that.
arguments and debates.
Hmm.
And uh, some of the people that have been up have very strong views on it, that it is or that it isn't. Uh,
Who was the name of your guest? You had a woman. You've had so many guests now. I don't remember all of their names, and I'm sorry about that. She had kind of short hair. Um, we spoke about her once before. She's been studying a long, long time. Um, it wasn't Lisa. What? Because she has longer hair, and it
it
wasn't. Um, I
wasn't
can't
Emily,
remember her name. She just had short hair, short, like light brown, grayish hair.
like Brown. It
Anyway,
wasn't Emily
maybe it was
Perry.
him. No, it wasn't Emily. Emily's got longer curly hair. It was after Emily, though. It wasn't so long ago. I want to say like a couple weeks ago. Um, and she, I thought, had a really good explanation where she was like, if you're talking about, you
Oh,
know,
oh, oh, Liz Cronkite.
yes, that's
Yep.
who it was. If you're talking in an ultimate sense, then there's non-duality is, kind of where we come from. But when it comes to the practice and sharing that,
Right.
it's in the world of duality. So both things happening at once, so to speak. One is theory and one is practice.
I like the thought that we practice on duality and the landscape of duality. That I
Exactly, that's what I'm
recognize, yeah,
saying.
I
Yeah.
that's the essence of Namaste. That me over here recognizes me over there,
Hmm.
and
So
you
did
over
whoever it was that was talking to you at first. You recognized that too.
right, right.
Yeah.
Um, in the uh,
So what's the argument? What as you understand it, what uh, I mean, I liked Liz's thing because it was kind of inclusive to both parts.
right.
So what are people like saying about it?
Uh, some people believe that when we say the course is not non-dual, that we are making the case for a separate self um, in existence.
Hmm.
And when we make the case
Yeah.
for non-duality, it was Reverend Tony who says he does not like that. He doesn't believe the thought of God mush, that we are mushed back into God, that we exist as individual points of light within the mind of God, uh, which some would say implies a sense of non-duality because individualism itself would not exist within perfect oneness.
Yeah, I don't know why it is for me like a completely moot point. Like just really moot, you know?
Right.
Um I really don't have any um difficulty allowing that um the love of God expresses itself in a myriad of ways.
Right. We could make the point, going back to the light metaphor, that light is always made up of um, particles of light, and yet we only recognize a single being. So,
Yeah.
can you
And
separate
there are
apart?
different ways of looking at light. You can
Right.
look at life as quanta, you can look at light as vibration,
Sure.
you know.
So, can you separate a single particle from the whole? Can you say that this light beam is not light? Can you say that this light particle is not light? Uh, can we think of it in terms of holographic? That
Well, again, I don't think that one thing implies the other. I don't think that noting that there's a wave implies that you're missing the ocean, or noting that there's a grain of sand means that you're not seeing the beach necessarily.
right,
It's
right.
I don't think that one what's the word, what is that saying that they say about correlation and causation? Correlation isn't causation.
Right. I found that depending on the guest, I find myself nodding with agreement. Um, and I think I could make a credible discussion from each perspective. Uh, I A lot of the people that I've invited up have expressed strong views in Facebook groups, so I like to give them an opportunity to uh, dive in. But I do
Share their
find, like,
views.
I listen to you, and I find myself nodding that it really is sort of a moot point. For one, we'll know when we know. Um, I think as long as we're in the body, uh, even with more and more direct revelation, we're going to be viewing things from the point of a body. Uh, as long as the ego is still present, there's still going to be that slight uh, ego tainted viewpoint, which is okay. I'm not trying to get rid of the ego to see the uh,
But is it even like that? I mean, okay, here we are. There's, face of Heather and there's face of Eric. Okay, and we're on two different sides of a split screen. Okay, but if we're not um seeing each other or ourselves as that, appearance, that bodily appearance or whatever, bodily appearances at this thing. Um, what's lending that any truth? It just doesn't seem. I guess it gets kind of back to what Lisa was saying yesterday, which is there's all this like mental, yakety 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 yak that we put out in order. It's kind of keeping unity and oneness at bay in a
right,
certain way, but not necessarily so.
right. Um, I've had very through the practice of A Course in Miracles, through the practice of meditation, as well as self inquiry, as well as uh, sitting with uh, teachers of direct pointing, uh, which is sort of the Zen sword of cutting right through uh, the ego. Very profound, non-dualistic um, moments, so to speak, using language. Uh, and then not long after, I had a long stretch of time where it had felt like the ego had dropped, or at least was reduced quite so much. Where and you walk sort of around in a bliss field,
But I still think it's like there's something going on where there's an association saying that, oh, duality is necessarily the ego. That point of view that there's two of us here is not necessarily the ego speaking, and maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but again, I don't make that differentiation. I just
right?
don't. And I don't know. I can't say that I think it's like all that helpful. It's like um there is a creator. The creator is part of us and we're a part of creation.
Right. Then it comes down to though, but who is the who that is part of creation? And we have a tendency, I think, to want to hang on to uh, the individual Eric and the individual whoever who has all of the problems and the views and the we want to go to heaven whole and complete. As I'm not saying or necessarily even me, but I
Mhm.
think a lot of people, especially starting the course, we want to be a spiritualized version of who we are right now. We want to be a spiritualized ego, and I think the value in taking somewhat of a non-dual view is in saying that when you are uh, have that direct realization of God, when we are in heaven, uh, that the individual you that you think you are will not be the individual you that will be in heaven. It won't be a spiritualized ego. That you won't be um, there won't be an Eric wearing glasses and bald headed, and or there won't be a better version of Eric. There won't be my 21-year-old uh, biased view,
See,
magnificent
I don't
self.
I don't think we have to keep them separate, Eric. I don't think we have to keep that version and the other version separate. Like my lesson today, I should look it up for you. It's kind of cool. It's like, I'm not asked to make a sacrifice to find the mercy and the peace of God. So, you know, the ego is very, very attached to that idea of sacrifice. You got to pay a price. You got to do
Right.
this, you got to do that. It's got to be like this or like that. I'm not convinced.
So, what do you think of going back to the analogy of a holograph? That every version of you is within the version of you.
I'd agree with that more. I have an easier time with a multidimensionality, so to speak.
Right.
Um, that you can speak of the physical, you can speak of the emotional, you can speak of the mental, you can speak of the spiritual, but those are all together all the time. They're not ever. Um, I think only perhaps the physical. Anything else. I guess the distinction I would make would be between temporary and eternal. You know,
Right.
this is temporary. This part is
So,
temporary.
yeah, one thing the course stresses, and we just read in the description of creating and the creator, is only that which is created from love is real. So anything that has not been created, so we can view that as almost a non-dual way. That
But we don't have to. We don't
I
have to make
agree,
that
I agree, but
distinction.
for the sake of
Yeah,
the question that you asked, why people want to talk about it,
yeah.
because there's a lot of things that have been created that are not out of love, but we are attached to, and we want those with us. We want the fast driving car on the cloud as we play
It,
the
the
saxophone.
ego wants to usurp God's place.
Right. And I think that is what's let go of when we are when we reach that point, when we have forgiven the world, uh, that which is not loving no longer exists. So I think that's when that would be the course's view of non-duality, is there's only going to be love because only love is real.
All right, but it doesn't say anything about um, co-creation. It doesn't say anything about um,
Let's get to that next on the
awakening.
on the AI and see where that leads us.
Co-creation.
Yep. What rabbit hole? Hey, Heavenly Star. What rabbit hole are
Hello,
we gonna?
Heavenly Star. Hello, Annabelle. 2 packs of sugar. Matter of fact, see you later. Who's
All
that?
right. What does A Course in Miracles say about co-creating with God? Let's see. Course in Miracles teaches that co-creating with God means extending His love and reality through our thoughts and creations, recognizing our divine power as His extensions, and adding to His external kingdom, not a limited world, by joining our will with His. Now that applies almost a slightly non-dual sense, our
Correct.
combining our will with His. As I said, I can go. I think depending on the guest, I could make a credible case with each
Yeah,
person.
I'm not with the either or school. That's
Right.
it.
So we
I'm
could.
like, if a person, paints people's toenails, they can be, as holy as person, that does this like mental gymnastics about things.
Right. So we co-create by shifting from the ego's limited world to God's infinite love and creation, becoming like God. by creating limitless, loving extensions that add to the kingdom's joy, not by becoming separate creators.
Right.
Um, I like that we're becoming like God because there is a book by Michael Berg uh, titled "Becoming Like God."
Cool.
Yeah. So you are God's extension. Love is the only creator. Extend, don't limit. Your creations, which are only made out of love, your true creations, are real.
Yeah.
Uh,
I was going to say inclusivity. I mean, if God isn't inclusive, then what is? I mean, God must be the most inclusive thing there is, you know?
right, right. Um, so, but it is a big social media. Of course, social media was meant. I think social media was meant for debates. I think uh, there is a big debate on all over. Virtually every Facebook group will have one or two posts devoted to very strongly worded. Uh, Someone actually called Kenneth Wapnick a cultist.
Oh, that's David, what's his face, in Tony's group, in the Course in Miracles big group. He can't stand it. Yeah. He can't stand Kenneth Wapnick. He hates him. Yeah, he
Um,
thinks everybody who follows, he's very into separating the two schools, just the exact opposite kind of what I'm
right.
saying.
For me, it would be hard to separate the A Course in Miracles from Kenneth Wapnick. Just for me. Uh,
I mean, my feeling, I I like I told you, I've met Kenneth Wapnick. I have a book. I have a couple of books that he's written, signed. He was most affable guy, just really like easygoing, and I didn't, find any problem. I didn't always agree with um his take on things, so I'm not like a Kenneth Wapnick devotee at all.
right,
But like I appreciate him. I like him. He looked at his studies. He's, authentic in a certain sort of way. I'd never found him to be, pushy or dictatorial or any of that. In fact, one of the things that I really noticed both with Lisa and with Floyd, and I appreciated it so much, truly, is both of them were very clear it that in their experience, it works differently for everybody. Nobody's there isn't an expectation that everybody has to follow in the same exact way. It's like perfectly okay if one person is bringing duality to the table and another person is bringing non-duality to the table, because already the recognition that it's personal and that there's a variety is more inclusive than its opposite.
right.
And it recognizes, yeah, we're, really capable of like mental gymnastics.
I thought that you might particularly like Tony, not Tony, Lloyd. He talked about
I'm
the
so glad you
Merkaba.
mentioned that because I somehow I've got like on my Facebook feed comes there, Lloyd and Stephanie, is that his wife's name?
Yep.
The um I get their messages, and when I saw that you were having him on the guest, I was my first reaction was, oh, same with Tony. It was like, oh, same because I don't necessarily. I've read some of Lloyd's posts where he was like very ardent, really like the dumb. It's like this. It's like this. It's like this, and don't say that it's not like that, and whatever. And because when you don't see a person visually, you can't hear the subtleties and the intonation, the voice. So I'm just reading a text and I'm ascribing to it all sorts of. So I did not have an expectation that I would enjoy Lloyd, and I enjoyed him thoroughly. I thought he was just like the kindest person, nice going. He was much less ardent in person than he sound just reading the writings.
Right. I I enjoyed hanging with him very much. But when he mentioned the Merkaba, I thought, huh, Miss Blipper is really gonna like hearing this part.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I know uh, Michael didn't resonate as much with you.
Yeah, no, it was something. It wasn't that Michael didn't resonate. Actually, probably that too much, but in the opposite direction. Like he's talking about, he's like living with his three sisters and his mom. So he's got all these women around him, and I come from just the opposite situation. I have four male brothers, three of them
Right.
older, one of them younger. So I'm surrounded by boys, and I got this. There was a point where, again, you said it already in this conversation, where like I felt that a judgment had been made that, oh, uh, the people who study the course and don't see it this way are just doing it as, like, some sort of hobby or something. I don't know. There was a little tinge, in my opinion, of um no, arrogance. Just you don't people, just because somebody doesn't interpret it the same way that you interpret it doesn't mean that they're less right, less on, less spiritual. No, we're equal.
A lot of people make the case that there is only one interpretation for the course, and that it's a uh, disservice to ourselves to have it taught uh, any other way, because we would be getting a if we leave it open to interpretation, then it becomes so many different things for so many different people, which
Isn't
might
it?
not be a bad thing, but is it the course? And is it going to lead to, will it still lead to awakening if each teacher teaches it differently and maybe waters it down a little bit? The, especially if we want to make this world real. And I think there might be a tendency of wanting to do that, that we want to make this world uh, real.
I've never heard that. I just haven't run across it. I've participated in groups, and I've in different countries even. Um and I haven't it hasn't been a non-issue. Yeah, again, it's a
Right.
non-issue for me. It just hasn't come up. But
Um,
I think of it in compared, it's like biblical stuff. If you took the Course in Miracles and you compared it to what happened with the Old Testament, the Torah and the Pentateuch, and the translations and the machinations, yeah, people can choose to, misinterpret or use it. But I again, if people are extending love, I what's the issue? What
right.
is the issue?
I think that if we have that tendency um, to begin making the world real, then we start having maybe a watered down version of forgiveness.
It's what I'm looking at here in this discussion is the authoritarian thing. People want to
Right.
be an authority, and even the course says it. It's like the number one, like, problem is that people want to be an authority on things.
What I love about this discussion is the inner rebel of Miss Flipper comes out. that
Yeah, don't give
the
me any BS. It's like
the
I got plenty of that on my own.
that punk rocker from the 1980s stepping up and saying, "Don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what to believe."
It's like, again, I just don't, I don't um, see it as an issue.
Um, I'll be honest with you. I don't know how much of an issue I personally find it myself. I have my own. I think when we are practicing, I think the thing to, as long as we are stating that the world is an illusion, that we're dreaming it, and that the way to see through the dream, the way to return home, is through the practice of forgiveness. He offered the means of forgiveness, as you and I described, and as you described, uh, relentlessly beautiful every time you describe it. Um,
Selective
everything,
remembering of only the loving thought, not through our selection.
and I think if you have those three key points, you almost can't go wrong, as long as you keep returning. And if you find, well, I'm not forgiving this, then you're making it real, and you're very selectively remembering the ego and not the Holy
Right.
Spirit, not the light.
And likewise, if you're going to a holy, light, loving place, like that's where you're coming from and that's where you're going to. Like that's what you you're you're seeing and where you want to come from and what you want to see, where you want to place yourself. What's the issue? No, it's you want to
Right.
fight about love, really? You know, of
I'm going to
all
be
things we could fight about, you know.
Thursday. Uh, James K. Anderson, Jim Anderson, is going to come up. He wrote a book, "Living a Radical Life," and he, in his introduction, he basically says almost every single course teacher that he's seen and experienced teach it wrong, get it wrong. Uh,
Good, we'll have fun with him.
um, yeah,
Sounds like a party.
I'm interested to uh, your response to the
If you
conversation.
can just tell him right off the bat, you know, you have a friend, Miss Blipper, and it's awful. She gets everything wrong all the time. How is that possible? Just great open line.
But you know what? It's a very it's a very good natured book, and watching his videos, a very uh, engaging speaker. So uh, he might make a case in a very loving fashion that makes us both go, hmm, maybe, and he might not. It's gonna be I'm gonna be interesting. I'm not looking for I touched upon politics a little bit with Reverend Tony because
Yeah, right. That was very
but
brave of you.
we skirted just on the edge. Um, I'm not look. I could have done some clickbait. You
Hmm.
know, uh, liberal yogi uh, versus conservative uh, Reverend Tony. Uh, but I'm not looking for controversy.
Right.
Uh, I'm looking
I had a similar encounter with him much before I ever met you.
with Reverend.
Yeah. Um, because it was interesting because I'd lived in San Francisco many years ago before I was in Rome. I was in San Francisco. So he has, Zoom calls, and it's a very nice group and people here, there, and wherever. So I thought I'd check it out. And so he Italian. I teach languages. That's what I've done for that's how I make my money. For years. And so and I've been living in Italy for 37 years. I'm not 35, yeah, 37 years, and more than half my life. Um, and so his name in Italian means little bridge, Ponticello, a little
Oh,
bridge. But he pronounces it Ponticello, and he's like completely convinced that that's the way it is. But I didn't say, but Italian, is a phonetic language, meaning that it's very consistent. All the vowels sound. It follows rules like Latin does, and there isn't any deviation. You can't just make it up as you go along. It's got a history that it kind of sticks to in a way that English doesn't. And English is not phonetic. meaning phonetic means that how you read things is what it sounds like. The vowels after certain consonants are always going to sound the same way. So English isn't that way because English has a bunch of different sources. And but like you, I just didn't. It was like, do you want to believe that that's how your name is pronounced? You know, it's like, go ahead and believe it. It's like your dream, baby. You know what I mean? I don't. It's like I don't have to do anything about his dream. He can choose his dream as he goes along, as can we all. I'm
But
like totally into the freedom bit. Yeah.
um, there is, like I said, I'm doing my best to. Uh, I want every guest to come up to be perfectly comfortable and relaxed and feeling free to voice whatever it is that they're going to voice without contention from me.
Sure.
Uh, so when I have a complete non-dualist, and I do have my own tendency leads in that direction. So there's always going to be a bias. But when I hear Emily, when I visit Emily Perry's,
Hmm.
and they've done several videos that the course is not a non-dual path. Same with Elizabeth. Uh, as I mentioned before, I find myself resonating very strongly with their view as well.
Hmm.
Ultimately, in the end, like you said, I just don't know.
Well, there the word was path, because if forgiveness is an element or miracles are an element, there's duality because God um, doesn't condemn. So God doesn't forgive because God doesn't condemn. Um, that would be non-duality, but miracles are a correction, and they're a correction by the Holy Spirit, which is within us.
Right,
And we can extend that, but again, that correction or even forgiveness itself wouldn't be there if it
right.
wasn't for a sort of duality.
I like returning to something that we had agreed upon earlier. I like the thought of you know forgiveness is a forgiveness is duality because it's someone recognizing, uh, but where forgiveness leads to, we could say, is non-dual.
That's true.
Um,
I would agree with that statement.
and now we're going back to the Buddhist Heart Sutra, uh, that energy is form, form is energy, or what I mean,
Um,
that emptiness is form is emptiness,
well, in
and
in Kabbalah, they would make that trinity that you're talking about up of three things, and one of them is material matter, and one of them is energy, hmm, and the other is psyche,
okay. But and
believing in God.
with that Buddhist sutra, uh, emptiness doesn't deny form. Form doesn't deny emptiness. The operative word is emptiness is form, meaning right now, like the form of this desk is emptiness appearing as form,
Right.
and that form doesn't revert back to emptiness. It is emptiness right now. And I think if we took that approach to that non-duality argument, that yes, the course is uh, non-duality in a very non-dual, in a very un-non-dual way. That one,
Non-dual.
yeah, that one doesn't negate the other.
Well, I guess what it does say, and this may be helpful, is that our responsibility as students of the Course in Miracles is to accept the atonement for ourselves. And atonement, according to the Course, is undoing, the undoing of our, perspective of separateness.
Okay, I think. you know, whenever you and I talk, I am. There's nothing that you ever say that I disagree with.
I have to work harder at
I think you should. I think you're going to have after this conversation, you have an entire week to come up and really piss me off. I think
that.
I think you can do it. We're getting requests
Uh-oh.
for the fishbowl
Oh, wow. Okay, I got it right
manifesto. What's
here.
it? And I would ask
Manifestor wants fishbowl?
from the middle.
Okay. I see a squirrel's just written a question. Miss Blipper, if there is only the one right now, who and what is on the journey to get there? And what is the purpose of the journey itself? Awareness. I would say the purpose of the journey is awareness, to understand ourselves as co-creators.
That is along the lines of what Lisa was addressing yesterday. Just continues coming back to awareness.
Hmm.
Awareness, being aware. Now, uh, to me, that's always an interesting point because is awareness separate from that which is aware of?
Is awareness separate from what it is aware of? No, no, it's not. Especially if you're thinking of love and awareness as being synonymous.
Yes. Um, so, yep. Manny, Phil wanted it straight down the middle
Straight down
regarding
the middle. The
his
fishbowl.
life as a farmer.
Okay. Hey, he moved to the farm. All right. Here we go. Doing with the left hand. I'm actually ambidextrous. It's a weird thing.
Are you?
And
That means you can breathe underwater, right?
means that, I can oddly I can write forwards, I can write mirror, I can write in mirror upside down, meaning I could write so you could read it, and
Well,
I can write in four different ways. Yeah.
well,
All right. This one's like
I
really tangled up. Mm. All right. It arrived. Phil, Phil. It says, forgive your brother, and you cannot separate yourself from him nor from his father. That's what it says. You can't separate yourself from your brother or yourself from your brother's father, which presumably is your father too, since it's your brother. So forgive your brother, and you cannot separate yourself from him nor from his father. Tangled up like me on the farm law. Okay. Hope it's peaceful
starts
now.
starred seeker is ambidextrous too.
Wow, cool.
I am uniquely talented that I cannot write elegibly with either hand. Um, I was asking Lee if I could use a comment he made yesterday. I don't know if he's still here. Uh, when we were talking with Lisa, and he had said about being with. Oh, thank you, Lee. Do we have to be in the right mind when we start learning the course? And uh, I was, my mind was a mess.
Yeah. No.
I was a drunk. I was self-destructive. I had drank myself out of jobs, relationships, alienated family members, um, all very good naturedly, by the way. Uh, but people couldn't stand the fact that I was self-destructing. They did not want to be part of it. I never like alienated someone where they hated me. It was, I can't watch you do this. Um, and the thought of forgiving, particularly myself, was, I couldn't even imagine it. It was so foreign to my mind that forgiveness was something as presented by the Course. Uh, and I think so many people come to the Course not trying to get the proper mind, and then I will attempt the Course. It's the Course of the correction. The Course brings us to our right mind.
Yeah, it trains us almost to be able to allow ourselves to be corrected. Anyway, I wanted to say something out. Shout out to Manifester to Phil, and he spoke about his brother, and it looks like he lost a brother. Well, we definitely both his sons, but sadly, I'm the last one standing. And I lost a brother too. It's a horrible thing. But my feeling is that in our minds and in our hearts, whether people are in this physical dimension or not, we can still choose to see the light in them. Yeah, doesn't it isn't connected to this body necessarily.
Um, so I think when we think that we need to be in the proper mind to practice the Course, it brings a sort of a dichotomy, a split that we we feel like we are not good enough for it, that we need to be perfect forgivers. Uh, and when you realize that forgiveness is all encompassing, including, Kenneth Wapnick said the perfect course student is, let me get this right. Uh, no, the perfect course student is a bad course student who can forgive himself.
The perfect course student is a bad course student that can forgive himself.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um,
Um, I just think it's the whole purpose right there is that there is something called a split mind, and there is thinking. There is the idea that um, kind of right thinking. I don't want to get into right and wrong, but um, that awareness can kind of get back on track,
right.
which is truly a blessed thing. But that's why we come for it. Well, if we're already enlightened, we wouldn't be like messing
Sure.
around with the course, right?
And that's the important thing. One, we start where we start. We start where we are with what we have, and that it's not about perfection. It's about practicing. It's about literally a life of continuous forgiveness, and that includes forgiving when you can't forgive. Um, and I always want to put people at ease that this is not a path of high expectations. This is
No.
a path of being kind, being really kind to yourself and what you're going through.
Yeah, it's expansion of your own soul, so to speak.
Right. Which is a beautiful way of thinking of it, because you get to touch this person and this person and this person, uh, and
And they get to touch you. Yeah.
yes, it's who was it? Saint Catherine of Siena, that every step to heaven is heaven.
I I think it was Saint Catherine. One, I think it is Saint Catherine of Siena, and she's like carved in marble in one of the churches, and it's just like it. Yeah, she's in like ecstasy. It's like crazy. Yeah.
Right. Um, but it really is for me. It is very very important to help people. Um, Look at that cat,
Hi, cat. That's cute.
beautiful. You see that little cat popping up?
I did.
Star Speakers, thank you so much. I have not seen that cat in a box yet, and that was absolutely awesome. Um, yeah, I really want to get across how gentle this all is, and that we need to be gentle with ourselves. If you're
All
beating us,
voluntary too, and no
yes.
sacrifice. Yeah.
If we are thinking, I can't do this, uh, then don't worry about it. When you're
Right.
ready, be gentle. Eventually, you'll come around and you'll say, uh, it hurts too much not to try, at least. Can I can I at least try to forgive? Can I have a little willingness that maybe I could see this a little differently? When you're ready, and the Holy Spirit meets you wherever you are.
Right. And it's just a book. I mean, how that was my thing the first round through. It's a book. I can just close the cover if I want. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
And I
does
did.
it's not gonna bite me. It's a
I
book.
did a lot through the years. For the first decade of the course, I put it away consistently,
Hmm.
but I kept pulling it out.
Mm.
Um, People have asked if do I still have my original couple guests, do I still have my original copy, or did I throw it away? Because many people, it said the reason why the course is a perennial bestseller is because people keep throwing away one copy and buying another.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, you said
but
that.
yeah, I've never thrown mine away, but it has been, on a back shelf. It's been a doorstop. It's been a paperweight. It's been long ignored, uh, but it's been a constant as well.
Yeah, mine, I still have the one, my original copy that my neighbor gave me 37 years ago. And it's the hardback three, the manuals, one book, the workbooks, another one, the text is another book, physically, three different hardback books. But I did have to get them, not the manual, but the other two, the bigger ones, the workbook and text. I had to get them rebound
Yeah.
so they have different covers.
But our friend Star Seeker said that what was it? So grateful for Ms.Blipper's chats.
Oh, thank you. Me too. I'm grateful for Yogi inviting me, even it's on a Tuesday, a Monday, Ms. Blipper on a Tuesday.
Yep,
I'm
that's what
very
I put
grateful.
that on the title. Monday Miracles on a Tuesday with Miss Blipper. This is, I've mentioned before, uh, guest after guest after guest, but home is with Miss Blipper.
Home with That's next week's title.
I think
Home
so. Home with Miss Blipper.
right.
Um, I might ask the rational man, Ricky,
Yeah.
if, to give a Christmas sermon.
Oh, wow.
See if he is up for it. Maybe like just a half hour coming up.
Mm. Oh,
Or
do you want to see my strawberry? Hold on, I'll go get it.
sure.
Just a second.
Lady Sky, how are you feeling? How did the doctor's visit go? So Lee, that's why I wanted to address that. The thought of you struggling, the thought of you suffering, thinking that you need to be any kind of perfect anything, really distressed me, and I just want you to relax, my friend.
There you go.
Awesome.
See how big it is.
And this is for your daughter.
Yeah, but it's really big, but not big enough.
Not big enough.
Yeah, it's got to be a bigger strawberry, but it's as big a canvas as I could manage this time around.
So we got a couple. We had a statement and a question.
Yes.
Sissy says, "It's my current dream to have the teaching version of Course in Miracles with the workbook, besides my One Tree Love, of course." So
No.
uh, I think maybe Santa Claus might be hearing a little something. Who knows? Who knows what's in store for Christmas?
I want to hear
Uh,
that again. So it is my one true dream. What?
it's my current dream to have the teaching version of A Course in Miracles with the workbook.
The
Uh,
teaching version. I didn't know there was a teaching version.
Let us know. Let me know which version we're thinking of here, Sissy. By the way, I do want to. I love having the handheld copy, but there is the free online version from the
Yeah.
Foundation of Inner Peace,
I
which is
use
fantastic.
that version a lot when I want to look up certain things like,
Me too.
creator, creation. I look up every quote that they have on a certain thing. And I've looked up forgiveness and I've looked up atonement and I've looked up all sorts of things.
I use it as
Uh,
a writing tool when I'm writing in the morning and I need to refer to the course, something in particular. I go right to it.
mhm.
Sniper has a question. How
Yes.
does the non dual realization that there is no separate self fundamentally change the concept of forgiveness, potentially resolving the need for a forgiver and a forgiven?
Oh, that's an excellent question. Do you want to answer it since you're like the Mr. Non-dual guy?
Um, well, I would, as a complete non-dualist, I would say that there is no such thing as a no separate self because there's no self. In the absence of a self, there can be no separation. There's
I
no
love that we both get to answer the same question.
right. Um, and does it fundamentally change the concept of forgiveness? Uh, Potentially dissolving the need for a forgiven and a forgiven. Yes, that is the whole nature of forgiveness: is dissolving that there is a forgiver and something that needs to be forgiven. And again, I think you present that so beautifully, Ms.Blipper, that in the end, forgiveness is just a concept, but it's not fundamentally changed. It is a tool to be used to recognize that there is no true forgiver and there is no one that needs to be forgiven. Uh, there is just the Christ Himself.
You're getting close to what I was going to say, but can you tag that question so I can read it more carefully?
Yep.
Here it is. Question: how does the non-dual realization that there is no separate self fundamentally change the concept of forgiveness? Beautiful. Potentially dissolving the need for a forgiver and a forgiven. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful question, Chipmunk. And I would say that according to the course has some extra little bits that come on prayer and forgiveness, which lay out forgiveness more clearly. But forgiveness, as the course speaks of it, is like the sister of prayer, and it is to not see error. Do not see error. It's not about seeing error and letting it go. It's about not seeing error. It's about choosing to see the face of Christ. So, in a non dual perspective, coming from a place of non duality, it is the kingdom speaking to the kingdom, or Christ speaking to the Christ. That would be non dual.
Uh, Evan says, Eric, but I'm going to address it to Miss Flipper too. I don't know how to use your rules of living if you have people attacking you. How do we use the course if we have people attacking us? How do we use forgiveness? So let's do away with the course, but we'll keep the concept of forgiveness as offered by the course.
Okay.
Or we could put some things in because the course talks quite a bit about defenselessness. How can we be defenseless if we have people attacking us? How can we choose forgiveness if
Well,
we have
it's
people
also
attacking us?
about, yeah, yeah, we it is in our defensiveness is actually creating certain situations.
Right.
By being defending against them. I don't know what the attack is. Like if somebody like attacks me physically, I just fight back. Me personally,
So I said, you're a rebel.
right? It's happened
You
before,
need
you know.
uh you need your book, Course in Miracles from a Rebel's Perspective.
Right, right, right. Four
Um,
brothers, four brothers,
so
and Course in Miracles.
you know, I want to touch upon. I've talked about this with other guests. Levels of form and form confusion. That
Mm.
on the level of the body, and Michael addressed this. Uh,
Mhm.
that you know, if you uh, protect yourself but forgive on the level of form and the level of the body, you protect your body. Uh, but you can still do that with a completely loving heart. You can practice forgiveness without anyone knowing that you're practicing forgiveness. Although the perspective will change, the situation itself might not, at least not at the beginning. So,
I think also, I mean, attack is a big word, and that's why I went to like a physical attack. Because if it's not a physical attack, then it's judgment.
right. And the most important thing, I think, is the realization that if you make, I love Gerald Jabelski always presented this, make peace your one and only priority. And what would you do? If
Y-
peace is your priority, would you continue an argument that wasn't bringing you
right.
peace?
Right. And that's also in the course. It's like the number one obstacle to peace is the desire to get rid of it.
Yeah. Would you rather be kind or right?
Oh, do you really want peace? Is that really like
Right.
what you desire?
Or is your desire to be right at all possible costs, even if it hurts
Well, thanks.
you?
If I'm talking with you, I want to be right.
Um, I've found you pretty much right all the time.
Don't
I
wreck it for me.
Esat says, "How do we possess an identity if there is no self? Surely it's important to identity ourselves."
Oh, I'm
Well,
so
but
glad she answered. Asked that question. You and I have gotten into this before.
we haven't gotten into it. We haven't rolled up
Self
our
and
sleeves.
self, big S and little s.
Big,
Little
okay,
s,
big S and little S. There
big S and
is
little s.
identity is appearing. Identity is appearing in the awareness of who you are, but it's not who you are. Because if you were hit on the head and didn't remember certain aspects of your identity, you would still be you. You would not be non-existent. Which identity we're talking about? The identity when you were 3 years old, 6 year old, 9 years old, or 47 years old, or whatever. I am not anywhere near the same.
In fact, that was one of the things that I read today about the creator and the creation, and what distinguishes between them is that the creator doesn't have a self concept. It just is. It knows what it is. It's thoroughly consistent. All the business of self concept, that's us created ones.
Right. Sissy nicely said, identity is ego, persona is ego. And, Buddha pointed out a long time ago the absence of that little self, as does yoga, as does neuroscience. There's no place where you can cut open. No scientist, surgeon will be able to cut open the brain and said, there's that little self, there's that persona, there's the ego. Uh, it's a construct, and constructs are fluid.
Yeah, again, back to either or. I don't think it's an either or. I think it's like a dimension thing. Are you coming from a dimension of wholeness, um, shared identity, truth, love, identity, or are you coming from a place of self concept? Are you coming from an emotional basis? Or are you coming from purely material? Because if it's just, body, it doesn't have mind to it. It's like nothing. It's like
Right.
cadaver. Yeah.
Evan says some people haven't seen psychological abuse in full force before. I don't know. I think all of us have been subject to it in some ways. I don't. I'll tell you what. I do not think that you can survive. I don't think you to uh, get to the end of a long scholastic career in Catholic school without being bombarded by psychological torment, for sure.
I feel
Uh,
like I've had, quite a good bit, but I don't think of it. What I do have a lot of is, um, you could say, a recognition that by far I am my own worst enemy,
right.
you know, by far.
Um,
Like, no comparison.
right.
Yeah.
I think people often believe that the things that you and I talk about have come easy to us. That we're just naturally, uh,
That truly is laughable. Right.
it's easy. I've heard people say to me, "It's easy for you. You're an easygoing guy. You're this and you're that." Uh, and they should have seen me in the 1990s. I was everything. I was tormented and a tormentor. but of course, the object of my tormenting was self-directed. Um, and let's
I
see,
think what happens is that you get to a place, at least with me, where I can still be tormented for sure, but I'm thankful, like, because it's revelatory, it's like, oh, I learned a new place where there's like this huge kink in my mental system,
right. But
Yeah.
for me, it was the point I was tired of being the victim.
Hmm.
And I was projecting. I was a
Right.
victim because you were tormenting me. I was a
Mhm.
victim because
That that
you.
that is giving away your power.
It
Yeah.
is, and
Mhm.
that is so important. It's reclaiming um, our truth, reclaiming who we really are, reclaiming. I'm going to use a coarse term, reclaiming our identity as co-creators with God.
Sure.
If I'm a co-creator with God, uh, how can I ever be tormented? How can I be a victim? No one's making me do anything, but I'm choosing to believe they are because I'm projecting it out there. It's easier to blame you and it's easier to blame myself than it is to accept responsibility. One of my favorite words, breaking it down, my ability to respond. I have that as a co creator with God. I have the ability to respond, and I can respond from the ego, which is going to be reactionary, or I can respond from the Holy Spirit, which is always going to be loving, always going to be kind, but it's also going to be loving and kind towards myself. And it might mean that I'm going to remove myself from that situation.
Mhm.
The Holy Spirit never makes a demand that you need to love that person at
Yeah,
the
it's not
expense,
looking for martyrdom.
right? You know, it's you were never at the expense. The Holy Spirit never says at the expense of you. Be kind to the point where it hurts. If it hurts, you're not being kind. You're being a martyr, as you just said. Americana was talking about uh, how come Christians always trying to tell me what I need. It's a good question. You would probably have to ask a Christian, right?
We're sorry, big fail here. Yeah,
Yeah,
I have no idea.
I guess I could call one up.
I, I really can't answer that question.
You
Like
don't have a.
I haven't been baptized. That's how Christian I am. Yeah.
Do you have a? You don't have a Christian hotline that you can call someone?
I can call my mother. She's a priest.
You mentioned that before. It's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
she's a Episcopalian priest, Anglican. But she didn't baptize me, so that left me not being a Christian and just completely unhelpful with Christians in general.
But
Number one, my mother.
it's interesting because he's saying, no, how come Christians do that, and shouldn't God do that? But that's another uh, little point there. God doesn't tell you what to do.
God is just love. God is God is love.
There you go.
If
If you're
you,
doing anything other than loving or being completely lovable, which comes so easy for you, uh, um, then you are not listening. You're not listening to God. You're listening to the ego that says love is quantifiable. There's only so much to go around. The ego says that
or you
I
have to
can't.
put it in this form. It's got to be
Right,
like this.
right.
Or if it's not, in this dictated way. I mean, that's what the church did a lot of. Not only the Roman Catholic Church, but churches in general do a lot of, my way or the highway kind of thing.
Hey, Stacks. Phil says hello from Iowa. Hello from Iowa.
Hello from Iowa. Hello from Rome.
Yep. Hello from Maryland. Let's see. Bass is here. How's my mental health? It's a good question. Anyone have any assessments? Ms.Blipper, how's my mental health
Your
from your
mental
perspective?
health?
Yes.
How is your mental health? I think you're doing great.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
amazing. Yeah.
Uh, of course, this is not a professional opinion. This is probably a subjective opinion, but I'll go.
Right.
I'll go ahead and take it. Kamari, how are you?
It's like he's my brother. I've had worse.
Hey, Hey, Haystacks. Hello from North Texas. So I'm going to do this for our friend Judy. You ready?
I am.
Look. If you had one shot, one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment, would you capture it or would you just let it slip?
All right.
That was Eminem.
Oh,
So they put it out there. I did my best. I did, Judy. I did my best for you. I know I didn't do a very good job.
is that a question? Does she really want to know? Let's see.
I seized my moments. I didn't know. I think for a large part, in that sense of the physical, you
I'm
know.
trying to think. Carpe diem. That's it. That's Roman Latin. Julius
Yeah.
Caesar said it. Yeah.
Sniper's laughing at my poor attempt to do Eminem.
Today, when I was reading about, and I don't know, it just occurred to me how beautiful this is. When it was talking about creation, it just said it's communication at some point, and I thought that was very beautiful.
I like that. Maybe I will attempt to write about creation tomorrow. What I said. We'll see. I try to keep my writing to. I try to keep it very succinct, very you know bare in essence. I take a Hemingway-esque view. I might
Right.
instead of uh like editing grammatically, I try to take things away. Is this necessary? Does this
Sure.
word uh until I have the bare
Short
essence of
and
what I
sweet. Yeah.
did. And creating uh seems like a large subject by virtue of of what it's doing. It's expanding. So we'll see. It might end up being 17 pages and still not touching upon it.
Well, I got a whole gospel going on.
Have you ever thought about writing a book?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Haystack wants to know. This is for you. Uh, Tetel, that you might need to read this for me.
It's not in the. You got to put it in the.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. Thoughts on the word te- tetelestai. Tetelestai. Isn't that Greek? Sounds Greek. Isn't that the last thing that was said when Jesus was up on the cross? I believe it is. And tell me, Haystack, am I off there? I believe it's Greek, and I believe that according to the Bible, is what Jesus said when he was up on the cross. Atta girl, I got it.
Is
There
that
you
right?
go.
Paid in full.
Il mio italiano è meglio che il mio greco.
How old were you when you learned Italian?
28.
Wow, it's actually pretty amazing that you're so fluent in it.
I
Uh,
have studied Latin in school. That helped.
it is finished. Sniper is correct. Carries
Right.
a deeper meaning of paid in full, like debt cleared, completed. We could say, from our perspective, it's all forgiven,
Yeah.
and that allowed for the resurrection. Because before forgiveness, there is karma, and there will be
In the end is the beginning. It's like the whole thing has done its loop.
right.
Yeah. But it's given. I think, it isn't like sacrifice. It's like given all. I've given all. Everything, everything. Oh, I gotta plug my phone in. It says low battery here. Dee-dum, da-dum. Okay, there we go. Hopefully that'll work. This is plugged in. Yeah.
So next, let me give a little rundown. Maybe there'll be some names. Our friend Julie is coming up again on Thursday. Julie
Do I know?
Burst.
Do I know Julia? I think I
Yep,
saw her.
she's been up a couple times, and she comes up with Diona.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The two. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yep. And Maureen Muldoon.
Don't know
I'll
Marie.
send you her YouTube page. I think you'll like her. Uh, let's see, and a friend or Jim Anderson, who I'm very much interested in. Radical
Right.
life.
The one who he's the guy who says like most all of us are teaching it the wrong way.
Yes. Um, Sheila Patel, who was one of my meditation teachers, teaching me how to be a meditation teacher. She is the head physician at the Chopra Foundation. She is not only a Western medical doctor, she is an Ayurvedic doctor, specializes in sleep, meditation, yoga. Doing me a huge honor coming to my channel. I
Okay.
might even put in a request. Hey, could you ask Deepak to come on over and maybe hang out with us? Um,
Yeah,
he's gonna be up on the.
ask him about the Epstein files.
Yeah, man. He's not taking much of a beating as some others, but and he's largely ignoring it.
Yeah, he's less of a political
Right.
factor. Yeah.
Uh, and then here's the big one that I'm excited about is uh, Jackie Laura Jones is coming up. She is Gary Renard's sister-in-law,
Wow. Okay.
and she is a wonderful course teacher. Uh, and she wrote a book that I love called "All Peace, No Pieces: Course in Miracles Take on the World." Uh, and very influenced by Wapnick for sure. Um, looking forward. She's just a very busy person. She's all over the place. She teaches with her sister, Gary's wife, as well as Gary himself, and that she took some time to come by and hang out next Monday in the evening. I think next Monday. Uh,
I look forward to it.
yeah, so those are the guests so far, and people are reaching out. Very excited that people have uh, people are actually reaching out to me to come up, and uh, Lisa said that uh, she just couldn't have been more gracious.
She's
After
lovely, and she said that you're doing good work, and you are doing good work.
you know, Vicky Poppy, who I absolutely love and has opened up so many doors to me. Uh,
Mhm.
she had sent me a text and said, uh, "Eric, thank you for saying yes
Doing
to
your part in the Holy
yes the Holy
Spirit
Spirit." Yeah,
world.
uh, that literally brought me to tears because uh, first was humbleness, and then just this feeling of would it only be sort of a silent voice saying finally that
Yeah, there's a recognition and all that, which is just lovely,
right.
truly.
So I want to thank you so much for being part of it with me. Uh, you were a catalyst. That your presence here, the conversations that we have, you are as part of everything that I'm doing uh,
Oh, bless your
as
heart.
as anyone. So a big thank you. Uh, you know,
Thank you. We got it. I remember when we had one of our earliest talks, when we hadn't met each other. We hadn't talked a great deal, and I was still doing the breathing exercises or whatever, and you told me something about, you said something about Christ in you. Oh, I think Christ is, in me, and I'm like, cool. Let's go. That's the way.
Anthony says, "Who's your favorite Roman emperor?" This would have to be for you.
Ooh, who's my favorite Roman emperor? Gosh. What a horrible lot. Okay. Jeez. God, there's so many, like, I kinda wanna go to the worst of the worst. That was my first inclination would be to go with, like, Nero or Caligula, or but then there's, uh, Augustus, and he's pretty big time too, but, yeah, I'm, uh I find it interesting. Rome is terribly, terribly interesting, but I'll tell you the truth. My thing with Rome was that I had a really, did you know where the course says, it's where an ancient hatred becomes a present love. And I really am not kidding, like the worst vibe going inside of me, inside my psyche with Rome. I mean, I could passionately, I would not only be afraid of Rome, but actually heartily dislike Rome. Not having ever been here before just frightened the hell out of me.
Hey, do you perceive yourself ever living anywhere else?
Don't know. Don't know. It's possible. It's possible. I don't know.
Hey,
Um, but I do know that there was a lot that I had to have be corrected in my association with Rome. That there's no question about that. I had
this
to, yeah, forgive
this sort
Rome.
of led me to ask, um, when you said, "I don't know," I don't know why that sort of thrilled me with that answer. How much of your life now is truly, guided by that great prayer, "I'm here to only be truly helpful," that, I will go where I'm directed, that, uh, how much
All
are
of
you
it.
now in that life of surrender, that I will go where I'm directed to go?
Yeah, I don't even think of it as surrender. I don't, because I guess my problem with the word surrender is like surrender as a word seems to I attach like sacrifice or loss to surrender, and I
Right.
don't look at it that way. I look at it as all gain. It's all gain. I don't look at it as surrender at all. Unless if it's about like the willingness to surrender illusions, to just like let go of them, hand them
Right.
over, that, yeah.
I always liked it as a spiritual term. Uh, for anyone who might not know, um, what I'm referring to, uh,
There's a beautiful song by Bonnie Raitt called Sweet Surrender.
uh, another band, Surrender, and I can't remember the name of it. Cheap Trick.
Okay.
Uh, and more and more, uh, I find myself coming to this place. I don't. I'm gonna, no. Uh, I'm under no belief that I am here fully, but uh, I absolutely love this prayer, and I do my best to go by it. That I am only here to be truly helpful. I
Mm.
am here to represent Him who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do because He who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever He wishes, knowing He goes there with me. I will be healed as let Him teach me to be healed. Um,
Yep.
and also the uh, it might actually be an imperative. Where we're directed rules of decision. Uh, that I will make no decision on my own. That we ask the Holy Spirit, we ask Jesus, uh, what should I do? Where should I go? What should I say and to whom?
Hmm.
Everything is handed to the
Everything.
Holy Spirit. And at the same time, as Kenneth Wapnick says, but be normal. You know, don't don't say to when the waiter says, do you want red or white wine? Don't hold up your finger and say, hold on, consulting with the Holy Spirit. Uh, you know, uh, these are the big issues that you go through life, and you consult. You hand everything over to the Holy Spirit. You go where you're directed to go. But the little things. be normal.
Yeah,
Do you manifest parking spaces?
I do.
Do you? I kind of
Yeah,
got the feeling that
I
you
do.
do.
I'm convinced there's a whole group of like parking angels, especially since I'm in Rome and there is one legal parking place for every 800 cars. So it's like much worse here than most places.
Do you have a car?
No, I don't. I did for many, many, many years, and I have an Italian driver's license, but I don't own a car currently.
Do you need one in Rome, or is public transportation pretty
Mm,
easy?
I walk almost everywhere because I'm not that far from the center. But yeah, I take public transportation if I don't have a car that My daughter, for example, borrows one sometimes when she's around. I'm reading Ms. Blipper. I said narrow out loud before you said it. Yeah, narrow. He's totally nuts. But I like Hadrian. He did build a bloody good wall, and I live very close to him, to his wall. I mean, Hadrian, but he was into boys. Hadrian was into boys in a big way. He was a pederast.
So I
Manifester says Miss Blipper looks like a younger version of my Nana Ivy. Okay. I was too young to remember her properly, but I know she has a sweet soul like Miss Blipper. Do you have any Scottish ancestry, Miss Blipper? I indeed am almost completely of Scottish ancestry,
uh,
almost completely, and everybody in Scotland looks like my cousin. Yeah.
okay. So I'm not a wine person, but Wes has said uh, basically everyone knows that the Holy Spirit prefers red. Is this true?
That's what they serve at communion.
Uh,
Depends what you're eating is the correct answer. If you're eating fish, you're gonna go with white. If it's hot as Hades out in the summertime, you're gonna go with white. If you don't want to have a headache, you're gonna go with white.
all wine
But
used to give me a headache. All wine.
um, they
Hey,
do
Jamie.
have an interesting thing in Italy though with wine, which is kind of cool. Is they have that it doesn't like to travel, meaning that if you don't go when you ask for this type or that type, you want Riesling, you want this, you want that. No, you just get like whatever's like local because according to the Italians, it doesn't want to travel wine. Whatever's closest
Right.
is best.
In my wine drinking days, it was anything I could get for under $2.
Oh, yeah,
Boone's Farm, if you remember.
yeah, that's headache though.
It is. Same with beer. You know,
Hmm.
there was I think every local area had their beer that you could get,
Hmm.
an entire case for $4.
Hmm. Did
Uh,
I hear you mention Rolling Rock? I like Rolling Rock. I used
I
to
was
like
my
Rolling Rock.
yes, it was my beer of
Go
choice.
to. Yeah.
Latrobe, Pennsylvania. Um, and of course, if I was going with pure Pennsylvania beers, I would also go with Iron City, the only beer can you could not crush on your forehead. And trust me, I attempted it and attempted it and attempted it. Uh, let's see.
Hello, Praveen. I loved meeting your wife the other day, long distance on this channel.
Beautiful soul.
Lovely. I just loved everything about that encounter. I really did.
I was so honored that she asked, should she come up and could she come up and testify, is what she said. It's like,
Love it.
yeah, this is what I'm here for. Russa says, you strike me as a Rolling Rock kind of guy. Rolling Rock, shot of tequila would start my evening off.
There you go.
Rolling Rock and a shot of tequila was the perfect buzz. Unfortunately, I would spend an entire evening trying to maintain that perfect buzz with another Rolling Rock and another shot of tequila.
Yeah. Tequila tequila will kick you in the head too.
It will. But you know what? My most hungover was always from uh, drinks that had or alcohol that had high sugar content, wine or rum.
Hmm.
Like I drank quite a bit of gin when I was trying to get in shape for something, and I wanted low calorie. Like if I was going to do a judo tournament,
Hmm.
uh, I would switch to gin and tonic. Hardly ever get a hangover. Those were the days. I do not miss them.
You speak you speak with somebody who has knowledge on these things.
I I do, unfortunately. Russa says, "Oh God, I forgot Boone's Farm, beer bonging that, and
Ew.
Mad Dog."
Mm.
In Baltimore, it was Natty Bell, National Bohemian. You literally could get a case for $2.99, and there was a little poem: National beer. We love the taste of national beer, and as we're singing, we're proud to say it was brewed on the shore of the Chesapeake Bay. That tells you how much time I've spent with with Natty Bell.
Arg.
Hey Sam, what's it says? Barf. It's amazing. Anyone who has suffered a hangover, a really bad hangover, would ever drink again, and yet uh, I did. Like I got food poisoning from Chinese food, and I maybe I've eaten it once or twice since, but I have no appetite for it whatsoever. And yet I would get drastically, deadly ill with hangovers, and then go out and drink it the very next day or that night. Weird the things we do, the things that we feel compelled to do without ever questioning.
Yeah, yeah. More stuff to sift through. Why did Haystack ask me about the word telestai? Tetelestai.
Oh, he had said something up above about it was something that we said that prompted it from
Oh,
him, but I don't remember what it said.
no worries.
Um, who was it? Oh, I think it was it Lloyd? Uh, the what's considered the shortest prayer in the course, and it was
Lord, I'm
given.
here.
Yeah, it was given to Bill. It's not in the regular version. It is
hmm
in. I think it's. I don't know if it's in the Earth text or Harry's version or.
Was it Lloyd?
Um,
I thought it was Lisa. That's funny. Yeah.
it might have been
hmm
Lisa.
hmm
Uh, and I wrote about that, and now it's been like coming up. And I absolutely do love. I love the brevity, and I love the power that it packs.
Yeah. Being present. Anything. I liked it when Lisa told you, your butt is sitting on the seat. Like, come to the present. Are
Right,
you
right.
aware of your butt sitting on the seat? Like bring it home, bring it present. Yeah.
So what's the matter says Chinese food doesn't get you loaded and make you handsomer.
I love Asian food. I like Japanese food. I like Chinese food. I like Indonesian food, Vietnamese food. I like it all.
Thai
Thai
food?
food.
I was
Thai
just gonna
food.
ask. Yeah, Thai food is good. It's very
hmm
spicy. Very.
They don't have too many. Most almost they do have Chinese places and Japanese places. They used to have a Thai place, but they're they don't have a huge amount of food from different countries here, unfortunately. That's on the downside. On the upside, we have farmers market every morning.
Right. How? What's the prevalence of fast food places?
Um, Prevalence. They actually made them do when they came here, they made new laws for them. Like they gave them conditions. For example, Burger King or McDonald's are required to offer healthy options. So you have to be able to get like a fresh salad at McDonald's
Oh,
or
nice. I like that.
yeah, they're required to, but there aren't too many of them. Like we don't have Jack in the Box. What are some of the other ones? I don't know. Name some fast food places. I don't think we
McDonald's,
we have
uh,
McDonald's. But not
Bur-
all over. Not
Burger
all.
King, Arby's.
No Arby's.
Uh, I can't think. Wendy's.
No, no, they're not. Italy, thankfully, is still. Uh, uh, Although there are some chains like along the highway, they have some like uh, things, but it's still really pretty mom and pop shop-ish.
Nice.
They don't go for the big chain thing. More precisely, we don't trust it, which is makes kind of good sense.
Well, it's amazing. You know, we talk about, not trusting government, not trusting big corporations, not trusting, cell phone companies, not trusting banks, not trusting,
Mm,
and yet we trust these fast food places and, the food industries that are literally have no qualms about poisoning us.
no,
Uh, and we
and
never question.
it
Yeah,
happens, yeah.
yep. And we never question it. Uh, what we're putting, what we're ingesting, that quarter pounder or whatever else. I can't even think of
Well,
names of.
even that they're calling it like an industry is kind
Right?
of gross. Like, kind of
Yeah,
imply there's something between the vegetable or the animal, whatever it is, and it going to your mouth, that there's got to be like this machinery middleman.
right. And the fact that even now with agriculture, it's called agribusiness.
Mhm.
You know, food. Our animals are treated as a product. They're treated as a commodity, which means that you can literally do anything. You don't think about products, right? When you're picking up a cog,
Mhm.
or a nut or a bolt, uh, you don't worry about how it feels. You just assemble it. You do what's necessary. So
Yeah, go
when
ahead.
you treat an animal as a commodity, you don't worry about it. And of course, that means injecting it with whatever we feel need to extend the life and the freshness to get it to market.
Right.
We're
And
in,
even in education, like, because I like agriculture, and it's interesting to me, and growing things, and I'm pretty good at growing things. We don't have a ton of mass agriculture here, although they do have supermarkets now. But they still have, like I said, fruit and vegetables markets every morning until 1. Um, but the whole, yeah, industry in America, even in, I guess it was Cornell, the Ivy Leagues used to be the agricultural college,
right,
and then they have UC Davis in California is another huge agricultural college. There is not one program in the United States for like organic gardening or organic farming, no, it's all possessed by the food industry in the universities.
right.
So like if you want to do that, you're on your own basically, no help from anybody, and especially not the government. Yeah, it's all tied into the pesticides and everything. Yeah.
Sniper mentioned Soylent Green.
Hmm.
You remember the uh, Twilight Zone episode? It's a cookbook.
No, I don't remember that episode, though. I love the Twilight Zone because I love the jingle. Now, neener, 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 neener.
Yeah, there was a episode on aliens came and there was a book, um, and I think it was something like they were teaching them like how to cook or something like that. And the book was trying to decipher it, and they came up with the how to cook. And the aliens are writing everyone up on the ships and everything. When they finally decipher it, the professor, is running out and saying, "It's a cookbook. How to cook humans. It's a cookbook. It says not how to cook, but how to cook humans." Um, Praveen says, "Love to see and listen to Ms.Blipper, man." Me too.
Oh, bless your heart, Praveen.
But we'll be wrapping it up in just a minute, I think.
In a
So,
flash.
yep. So then, this conversation. I think this was an important conversation to have, actually, I've seen some very here's going to be a little bit of judgment. I've seen some very non-course like behavior in the discussions, in the arguments of non-duality versus non-duality. And I think
Mm,
the problem is as soon as we put the verses, non-duality verses, and you effectively took away the verses.
thank you. Yeah.
So I think it
I'm
was
not I guess yeah, that's like you say the punk in me. The I'm not into the world of either or. I'm not into anything dogmatic. And the punk in me does get rebellious when I read things. It's got to be this way, and if it's not this way, and this is the only way, and it's like I'm like crud. Like I said, I don't know. I'm not the uh, I I just love that, like Lisa and Lloyd had the grace to put out there that, hey, it's a personal thing how people grow and develop and learn and extend, and it's, don't have expectations of
I,
everything being in the same way.
I
No.
always liked Suzuki Roshi, the great Zen master who came over, one of the first teaching Zen in the United States. And he had all of his followers around him when he was uh, getting ready to pass away. And one of his students says, uh, Roshi, what will happen to you after you die? How could we expect, to see you reincarnated? Do you continue teaching? What's going to happen? And he said, I don't know. And all of his followers were shocked and said, how can you not know? You're a Zen master. And he said, yeah, but I'm not a dead Zen master. Uh,
I
uh,
love that. I love
yeah,
that. And I was going to say, that was like one of my introductions to that, like non-dogmatic, the non-dogmatic world was with a Tibetan master sitting on a pedestal in Golden Gate Park. And there's a part of the park called the Panhandle near where I lived. And again, I didn't know anything. I mean, for me, a llama was a little furry animal from Peru. I knew nothing. And but this Chinese guy in front of me, and there people were lining up, and I was like, "Oh, can anyone get blessed?" And he's like, "Well, according to this guy, the llama, who was like 105 or something, he's like really old, old, old. He's like, this guy, as he sees things, it might not even have to do with this lifetime, the blessing. It might not, it could be for a previous, lifetime or a future lifetime. It might not have anything to do with, right
but
now at all. It's like, so open it up, don't, you don't have to. Yes, there's here and now, and there's this present experience now, and that's where our most intense learning is. But it doesn't, if you're talking about things that are eternal, yeah, open book.
agreed. So,
Oh, stop being so agreeable.
well, we have we've had our differences on views, but always handled, you know, openly for the fact that it's, uh, I think both of us are non-dramatic in our approach. That
Yeah.
I can, uh, I'm fully open and accepting and understanding of you being wrong,
Of me being here, you mean? Oh,
of you
because
being
I
wrong.
can't like fight with you like
Yeah, I have no vested interest in you being wrong. It's okay with me.
that.
Uh, but I have no vested interest in me being right. Um, you know, because if I'm insisting on being right, I'm not being kind.
But even if we're like totally off, like dead wrong, like off as can be, you can tell this to your buddies coming up, the guy who thinks everybody's teaching wrong or whatever. Fine. But it's like, again, that's just fluff. It's just dust in the universe. It's just there's like some place in the course it even says it's like, that word wrong. It's kind of just put it into mistaken. It's mistaken. It's a
Right.
mistake, but making mistakes is not a sin. A sin is a mistake that you think is the belief that something can't be healed or can't be corrected, and all can.
Agreed. Agreed.
There you go again.
Well, we've done something that I don't often do with any guest, and I never do solo. We hit the 2 hour mark.
All right. Yeah, I think we did that last week too,
Did
actually.
we?
Yeah.
I know I did it with James Plath, him
Hmm.
and and I think I did it with Nanette. We hit the 2 hour mark.
All right. Should we say goodbye to everybody? Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys. Uh, I appreciate the participation too. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. It was
We'll,
good.
yep, we'll do it again next week. Uh, I'll be interested in in your views of James. I
Yeah,
think
he's
actually
coming on Friday. Is that what you said?
Thursday,
Thursday. Okay.
but I think he's so. I'll send you a video from him.
Is this time slot that he's coming in on Thursday?
It's a good question. I don't remember.
Okay.
Uh, I think later. I think 5:25. So it might
Okay.
be too late for you, but if you could rewatch.
Yeah.
Tell myself work well. Total sense. Oh,
Hi, bro.
okay.
What's that, bro?
Yep. Uh, Sniper is going right back to bed. Sniper, I appreciate you.
Sniper,
Uh,
I hope you feel better soon.
yep.
Get rid of that bug.
Everyone says, bless to thee. Thank you, man. Oh, bliss to thee. Thank you.
Bliss to thee. Grace to thee. Bliss to thee.
Um, so we'll see. We'll see who else pops up. At sometime in January, I believe Gary Renard's going to come up.
Wow.
Yep.
Big time.
Yeah, I am hitting the big time. Marianne Williamson will be next.
That's
I
it.
I, I have an in now with Marianne.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Uh, I know someone. She's going to be on their podcast,
Oh, there you go. Okay.
so I might ask for put in a good word
Right.
for
All
me.
right.
Uh, and I hope in 2026 to have John Mundy up. I
I
really
like
want.
John Bundy.
I like John Mundy too. His books have been a mainstay
Hmm.
for me. Uh, and I want to touch base with that original link. Someone who was there learning from Helen and from Bill and from uh, Ken and from Judy. You know, just that lineage. Lineage isn't a huge deal, and of course, it's big in uh, certain yogic traditions. It's big in certain Buddhist traditions, but there is a lineage in the course, and the lineage is uh, there's not many people uh, from that original New York setting when it was a hand-bound edition. You know, not yet fully edited, not yet published, uh, and reading the words of Jesus in the handwriting of Bill Thetford. Just I love
Yeah.
touching base with that.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that. I just again return, because I've done so much in the way of that period in history with Bible studies and all the different groups and the Gnostics and the Paul and Peter and all those people and the Ethiopian and the Greeks and the Hellenistics and the this and the that. And I love to read that history, but I also get like in the end for me it really is more about the content than it is about the form.
I agreed. Um,
There you go. Hey, you have to like it's 5 cents every time you agree with me.
If you're looking for, if people are coming to my channel looking for controversy,
They come to the wrong place.
probably, but not
I think
not like I haven't flirted along those edges. You know, with Michael, I
I'm
did
gonna
bring up.
change my tune. I'm gonna become more controversial. You just wait.
Okay, we can leave that to you. I'm going to do that for next Monday.
All
Uh,
right.
it's going to be, uh,
Controversy at home with Ms. Blipper. Yes.
yes, where you know, this is uh, the punk version of A Course in Miracles. Uh, this isn't your grandmother's course. Um,
Just
well,
put him up and fight with the Course in Miracles. Okay.
exactly. I mean, there could be there are all kinds of as current controversial as the course gets. Do we need churches of the course? Do you need a minister of the Course of Miracles?
I've
Do
had
we
problems like I've met people like A Course in Miracle people who are like into masters, the
right?
master, and he was a master. It's just like,
Yeah.
I'm like, you gotta be at it. You gotta be kidding.
Do we need first community commune type
Mhm.
places? Do we need uh, the course in politics? Should we be involved in the world or removed from the world? There are, I wouldn't say, these major controversies, but like I asked Emily, one of the reasons I wanted Emily Perry up was because of her views on social engagement
Right.
as a course student. Uh, and again, I can take both. I can take both. That I can. I love being a renunciate and you know getting on my being just a yogi practicing A Course in Miracles in his basement. But I won't get very far unless I'm involved. Uh,
But doesn't the truth just like want to go wherever it can?
yeah. Uh, so yeah, there's I don't court controversy, but if the topic's there to be talked about, uh, I think it's important to address it. Me personally, I have a hard time understanding certain political views and how you can hold them and still see through the eyes of the Holy Spirit. And to me, it creates a definitely creates a dichotomy.
A dissonance, yeah.
Yeah, but that's just me, and I don't want to. And I can address that and talk about it without insisting that just because I see it a certain way, that it's right. You know, I
Well,
don't.
yeah, because it isn't about right. It's about being human and desiring that humans uh, grow in love. Grow in extending love. That's the idea, I guess.
Hey, our friend Adam is here. So hey, Emma Stoff is here.
Hey,
Before we,
Adam.
hey, One Star. Uh, I just want to put out his little statement. I heard a quote from Elvis. He said, "Truth is like the sun. You can hide from it for a minute, but it's always there." Um,
Yeah, truth isn't going anywhere.
and
No,
our friend
mm.
One Star says, "Is Jesus anti-war or pro-war?" And I don't have to answer that because I think if you read the actual words of Jesus, you get your answer right there.
Yeah, in fact, Jesus got into quite a bit of trouble because some of his main buddies were much more into uh, you know we should fight against Rome. We should put him up. We should be more warrior like.
But I believe Jesus said in the Bible, "War. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing." Say it again. Maybe that was Edwin Starr. I get the two confused.
I like the rhythm on that song though.
Yeah, me too. It's a fun song to sing along to.
Mm-mm-mm.
I I will never do it on a karaoke night. I can promise you that because I
Okay.
couldn't. I could not do it justice.
War.
Um, all right,
Ay,
so
ay,
I
ay,
hope to
ay.
see everyone. I'm going to bring Manifesta up while I make something to eat. He is live streaming it as we speak.
Mhm.
So if anyone wants to continue
Great.
hanging out, he's the
I just
place to
want
do
to
it.
answer Chipmunk here said, the truth can be seen from multiple perspectives. Yes, on a good day. We hope that is true. I believe that. I believe that. I don't think perspective and truth have much to do with each other at all.
Um, I think one thing that we were agreement in, and I think sums everything up so perfectly, if we view things through that holographic lens, that
Mhm.
any one point contains the entirety, uh, and the entirety contains every one point. That we don't we don't need to be insistent upon anything.
Well, and back to perspective, love is a way of seeing. It's seeing through the eyes of love. It's its own perspective.
Yep. All right.
All
So,
right.
uh, nothing to do. Come on over, hang out with Manifester.
All right.
Love you guys. Love you,
Love you
Miss
guys.
Blipper.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for chatting with us.
Yep.
See you soon.
Bye.